My boyfriend abandoned me on the 7th anniversary and went to prepare a surprise for his childhood sweetheart. Everyone is blessing them. I smiled with relief. The chewing gum is tasteless. Of course, you can choose to change one piece. 1. The jewelry genius designer who was born out of the sky became popular overnight. He made a unique diamond necklace with his own hands, just to make the beauty smile. This rookie is my boyfriend Jihan, but that beauty is not me. Short videos are popular all over the internet, and the comment section is full of envious voices. What a perfect woman can make Jihan, a genius designer, work so hard? I stared at the graceful figure in the video and recognized it as Jihan's Qingmei Bailan at a glance. Today was supposed to be the 7th anniversary of me and Jihan. He had already promised me to have dinner with me in twilight. But I waited until late at night from dusk, neither waiting for his figure nor his call. I thought he was too busy in the studio, so I waited patiently in the restaurant. Unexpectedly, he was sending his proud work to Qingmei. In this couple's restaurant, I have become a joke for others. It's funny to say that Jihan, who stands next to Bailan, always has a bright smile. But in front of me he always looks worried. I once thought that artists were all like this, so I never blamed his indifference. But later I realized that I was wrong. I opened the gift carefully prepared for Jihan. It's an exquisite brooch. I designed and made it by my own hands. The diamond, which was originally dazzling, has become gloomy at this moment. I changed my number to call Jihan, and this time he actually connected. Hello, hello. A staggered voice came from the other end of the phone, almost drowning his voice. I held back my choking and tried to calm my breathing. It's me. Where are you? Jihan's breathing was obviously a little surped. I'm working overtime in the studio. What's the matter? He seemed to walk to a quiet place, and the noise around him gradually disappeared. In the face of my questioning, he was still calm, as if he was telling a lie that he was convinced of. I sighed deeply. Jihan, let's break up. Shunmei, are you making trouble again? I sneered. You and your good sister are popular all over the internet, talented designer. After saying that, I immediately hung up the phone and drove away. When I returned to Jihan's house, I began to pack up, but I finished packing in a moment. I looked around and left this home full of memories without looking back. In fact, I have a duplex apartment in the city center which is very close to the company. But in order to cooperate with Jihan's work, I would rather spend 3 hours commuting than be separated from him. For 7 years, for more than 7,000 hours, I have never been able to cover his heart. Some people, no matter how you accommodate, will never cherish your efforts. After returning to my apartment and washing up, I fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, I found that there were a few more messages in my mobile phone. Shunmei, there is a limit to your temper. How can you not go home all night? Didn't we celebrate our anniversary? I'm back. Where have you been? I'm too lazy to pay attention to it. I'm ready to go out after washing up. This situation has happened too many times. The most impressive time was when I fainted and was hospitalized due to excessive work pressure. Jihan was taking care of me, but he received a phone call and left in a hurry. Later I realized that it was Bailan's new drama that failed in the premiere, so I asked him to get drunk. When I dragged my weak body to find them, the two were hugging each other and crying in the bar. I don't know how many times I cried, and I can't remember how I humbly begged him to stay. He just said coldly, "If Lan Lan and I really want to do something, do you think you still have a chance?" This sentence made me speechless and I never dared to ask again. But every time he chose Bailan, he always stayed with me until dawn and said he loved me in my ear again and again. And I have already indulged in this illusory love, and it is difficult to extricate myself. I love him. I thought that loving a person is unconditional tolerance. However, today I finally tore off this false veil. 2. I just finished my work when a bright red Ferrari stopped at the door. It's Jihan, who rarely appears. He was wearing a decent suit, his handmade leather shoes were shining with a low-key luster, and his whole body exuded dazzling charm. The girls in the company looked back at him frequently. He lowered his head and played with the latest mobile phone, with a smile on his lips. Once upon a time my heart beat faster because of his appearance, secretly proud that he was my perfect boyfriend. And at this moment I just want to leave quickly and go back to my home. I tightened the bag in my hand and was aiming to walk to the subway station, but Jihan locked me at a glance. He stopped in front of me in 3 or 2 steps, looking as usual. Lan Lan's play premieres tonight. Come with me. She said she missed you for a long time. I paused and nodded reluctantly. He rarely opened the co-pilot's door for me thoughtfully, but I sat directly in the back seat. Just because the co-pilot was written with a marker, exclusive to Bailan. Jihan's hand was awkwardly retracted and silent all the way. When I arrived at the theater, the VIP lounge was already very lively. Bailan, who was praised by the stars, was like a real queen of the stage, shining. Her eyes swept between me and Jihan, and her eyes became sharp in an instant. Sorry, Xiaomei and I are late, Jihan said with a smile. He saw the empty seat beside Bailan at a glance and immediately let go of my hand and sat over. I quietly retreated to the corner. Everyone's eyes fell on me, with a smile on the corners of their mouths. They all grew up in the same yard, and Ji-haen and Bailan are the best among them. Obviously they think that I, an outsider, am not worthy of Ji-haen, and they are hope that they can achieve the right result. Once when I felt their rejection, I thought I was not good enough and racked my brains to please them. It was not until one day that I found the gift I gave them in the trash can that I realized that some malice was inexplicable. At that time I cared too much about Ji-haen and wanted to integrate into his circle. Now I think it's really stupid. I sat in the corner in silence, but Ji-haen noticed my abnormality and frowned. Xiaomei, why are you sitting so far away? Come and sit down. How ridiculous it is that he is so close to his beloved white moonlight, but he wants me to come over like a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Ji-haen's face sank. Thinking of my attitude yesterday, he became even more annoyed. You're losing your temper again, aren't you? It's up to you. As soon as the words fell, his eyes became as tender as water when he turned to Bailan. He elegantly took out a small box of red velvet from the inner pocket of his suit and slowly opened it. It's so similar to the brooch I was going to give to Ji-haen yesterday. Under the colorful lights in the lounge, the jewels reflect a dazzling light, which is very different from yesterday's dim brooch. My heart was shaken, as if my throat was strangled, and it became difficult to breathe. Everyone was impressed by this exquisite rose brooch, and encouraged him to wear it for Bailan. Ji-haen carefully pinned the brooch to Bailan's exquisite dress, as if he was cherishing the most precious treasure in the world. A burst of exclamation almost pierced my eardrum. This is so romantic. The talented jewelry designer dedicated his most precious work to the most brilliant rose on the stage. Oh my God. It's so romantic that I'm so envious. The rose that made the whole world bloom yesterday. And today I give her the bright rose that I treasured. I'm going to be sweet to death. They didn't care about my existence at all and thought unscrupulously. Suddenly someone exclaimed, "Wait, this brooch is a little familiar. I seem to have seen it somewhere." Ji-haen raised his chin slightly. No way, this is my limited design, the only one in the world. I did see it somewhere. I remember that it was in the circle of friends the day before yesterday. It was sent by Shun Mei. 3. As soon as this was said, the atmosphere of the scene instantly solidified, and everyone's eyes were like sharp arrows, making me feel like a needle felt. That man is right. I'm not only writing but also writing. May you and I have a future like a rose. Unfortunately, the rose I was looking forward to did not bloom, but Bailan's rose bloomed first. Ji-haen looked at me in disbelief, and his eyes were full of doubts. Is it true, Xiaomei? Did you design this brooch? Who were you going to give it to? I tried my best to suppress the tears that were about to come out of my eyes, and it was difficult to open my mouth for a moment. When others saw that I was silent, they began to whisper. I remember that Shun Mei used to show off to us, saying that she and Ji-haen met because of a common love for jewelry. He also said that he was the source of inspiration for Ji-haen's design. Isn't it her own custom-made brooch to declare sovereignty? These words fell into Ji-haen's ears, and his eyes became more and more complicated when he looked at me. Xiaomei, I really didn't expect you to doubt me like this. Do I doubt him? The tight string in my heart finally broke. I stood up suddenly and squeezed out a smile. You misunderstood. I was going to give this brooch to Lanlan, but it happened to coincide with Ji-haen's idea. Let's give it to you as the overlap of my and Ji-haen's feelings. A trace of pride flashed in Bailan's eyes, but her tone pretended to be gentle. I know, Sister Mei. You don't have to force yourself to choose a gift for me. We will be a family in the future, so you don't have to care about these little things. After hearing this, Ji-haen snorted coldly. She was jealous of you from the beginning, and I can see it clearly. Even if you don't like it, you shouldn't be so obvious. I endured my anger and smiled indifferently. I don't dislike anyone, and I'm not qualified for that. You go on, I've left in advance. Don't go. It's ridiculous that there are fewer people at the premiere celebration banquet. Someone beside him complained. You won't be angry because Ji-haen gave Lanlan a rose brooch, will you? Why are you so careful? That's right, Bailan's premiere celebration banquet was ruined by her. Ji-haen finally got up and said to me in an unquestionable tone, why do you have to care about my first work? At worst, I will design another one for you in the future. His words made everyone understand that I was a joke, and everyone whispered and treated me as a laughing stock. Bailan stood behind him and smiled triumphantly at me, as if she was a real girlfriend. How ironic, it's not me who did the wrong thing, but I'm going to be blamed for no reason. Ji-haen in front of me makes me feel extremely strange. I said with a smile. No need, roses are beautiful, but I don't deserve them. After saying that, I turned around and left without hesitation. Brother Ji, call her back quickly. It's very dangerous at night. I heard Bailan's smug voice. Let her go. What she wants has nothing to do with me. The cold wind made me shiver. Recalling Ji-haen's words just now, it was like a thorn in my heart. The laughter of the couple came from me. Looking up, I was in a trance for a moment. What a beautiful rose. When we get married, we will buy a bunch every day. How romantic it is. I looked at them and seemed to see me and Ji-haen in college in a trance. When we first met, we accidentally bumped into each other at the jewelry design exhibition. Since then, I have been following his footsteps. I keep asking him about jewelry design just to get more attention from him. Finally, my enthusiasm moved him. He began to take me to study design and create together. In this way, we became the roses cherished by each other. He once told me that I was his only source of inspiration. But I don't know when our relationship became so precarious. No matter how beautiful the jewelry is, it can't compare with the brooch designed by Ji-haen for Bailan the day before yesterday, right? That work simply amazed the audience. My heart twitched violently, and I remember Ji-haen's sincere promise to me. Xiaomei, one day I will create the most beautiful and brilliant jewelry in the world for you, so that all girls will envy you. Unfortunately, no matter how good the promise was, it became a thing of the past. I dragged my tired body to the direction of home. Ji-haen still had an indifferent attitude. He called me and asked if I had arrived home. I hung up without saying a word, and he sent a text message again. You're going too much today. By the way, Lanlin's performance will be over in a few days. I'm going to hold a celebration banquet. Remember to come. I didn't reply, so I opened my moments casually. What caught my eye was the exquisite brooch and Bailan's bright smile. What was more eye-catching was Ji-haen, who looked at her gently. Bailan's supporting text is ambiguous. No matter how many setbacks I encounter, my brother Ji-haen will always be my most solid support, sheltering me from the wind and rain. I can't help replying. You can't blame others if the rain leaks. 4. Unexpectedly, Ji-haen still had a romantic side. An exquisite jewelry work appeared in front of my house in the early morning. A bracelet inlaid with miniature roses. But I was not moved at all and put it in the box to be returned. Before I could take a few steps, I was blocked by a figure. It's Ji-haen with a displeased face. Don't you like the bracelet I designed for you? I replied without any guilt. It's not that I don't like this work. I don't like you, so I don't accept what you gave me. I wanted to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. Shunmei, there should be a limit to anger. I was amused. Please, who is angry with you? The design you don't like can be overturned and redone, and people I don't like can't refuse. When I first started to learn jewelry design, he didn't care about every design and was thrown into the waste of manuscripts. I understood that my design was too amateurish, so I became more and more courageous, and finally made a good work. Just as I showed it to him, I came up with him praising the sketch drawn by Bailan casually. Seems that it is a rare treasure. Ji-haen was a little embarrassed. She tried to design for the first time, and I couldn't bear to hurt her enthusiasm. Then you can deny my efforts at will? I don't want to worry about the past anymore, so I shake off his hand and leave. In the following days, I devoted myself to work and was deaf to other things. I will return all the jewelry he sent. The sense of accomplishment brought by focusing on work seems to give me a new life. But Bailan called again. Sister May, when will you come? We are all waiting for you. I'm a little confused. Why are you waiting for me? Brother Ji said that you two would treat me to celebrate the premiere of my new drama. Don't you want to congratulate me? Before I could explain, she choked up and hung up the phone. I sighed and looked at the market research report prepared for Ji-haen at hand, understanding that it was time to end completely. In fact, that restaurant is the one I reserved for the 7th anniversary. He didn't have time to have dinner with me at the beginning. However, as soon as Bailan opened his mouth, Ji-haen's schedule suddenly became empty. When I came to the restaurant and was about to enter the private room, I heard a few words of discussion. Ji-haen, your girlfriend is so pretentious that you can't stand a joke. You design jewelry for Lanlan, which you made an appointment when you were a child. What is she jealous of? Bailan said delicately. Oh, it's not because of me that Brother Ji learns jewelry design. The speaker does not have the intention to listen, otherwise how could Ji-haen give up? After being abandoned by my boyfriend, I turn around and marry the boss 39103. That's right. If it weren't for your performance abroad, how could Ji-haen have found her? In an instant I fell into an ice cave. Did Ji-haen learn jewelry design for Bailan? Then what am I? She is indeed the white moonlight of Ji-haen's soul, and even life revolves around her. Ji-haen, who didn't refute, saw me through the crack of the door and looked panicked. Xiaomei, why are you standing outside? Come in quickly. I went in and smashed the information on Ji-haen's face. What's the matter with me going in to disturb you? After saying that, I turned my head and left. Ji-haen got up and took my hand, his eyes flashing. Where are you going? Didn't we have dinner together? I gritted my teeth word by word. I feel sick when I see you. Can I still eat? Ji-haen's face was solemn, and a trace of pride flashed in Bailan's eyes behind him. Shunmei, what's wrong with you? My heart was exhausted to the extreme, and I looked down at the ground. Ji-haen, I want to ask you what you are thinking about? You obviously love her, why do you accept me? You are proud of letting me give you like a fool, aren't you? Ji Hayan's pupils shrank sharply. What nonsense are you talking about? In my heart, Lan Lan is just a sister. Bai Lan's smile froze in an instant, and her eyes were full of disbelief. I looked at their different expressions and smiled disdainfully. You can deceive me, but you can't deceive yourself. I still say that. Let's break up completely. Don't bother me anymore. After saying that, I broke free from Ji Hayan's hand and left without looking back. When he got home, he blacked all of them. Since then, Ji Hayan has been just a stain in my life. That I will never let him interfere with my life again. 5. After that, I was like a chicken in the company and devoted myself to work. The boss, He Jiangxian, was quite surprised by my recent performance and specially came to my workbench. Shen Mei, have you been so eager to work recently? I was shocked and looked up at the clock on the wall. Is it already 10 o'clock in the evening? Through the floor-to-ceiling window, you can see the silence outside, and the lights of the city have already been lit. I smiled reluctantly. Break up and focus on work. A trace of surprise flashed in He Jiangxuan's eyes, and he coughed softly. Don't be too sad. The boss invited you to a late-night snack. I quickly refused. He usually doesn't smile, and I dare not eat alone with him. Stop talking nonsense. Just treat it as overtime and give you 3 times the salary. Hearing that there was extra income, I quickly followed He Jiangxian out. As soon as I arrived at the door of the company, I saw a familiar figure standing not far away. Seeing my hesitation, He Jiangxian said doubtfully, "What's the matter? Who are you? Let her go." Ji Hayan's angry voice came. Before I could open my mouth, He Jiangxian raised his eyebrows and asked, "May I ask who you are?" "I'm her boyfriend." Ji Hayan gritted his teeth and came over. "Didn't you say break up?" He Jiangxian turned his head and looked at me, a little confused. I nodded firmly for fear of causing him trouble. "I won't eat it today. I will definitely eat it next time." He Jiangxian looked at my resolute expression and left after hesitating for a moment. I was about to leave, but Ji Hayan stopped me, and his eyes were full of grievances. "Xiaomei, who was that man just now?" I was impatient to avoid him and didn't bother to answer. Ji Hayan grabbed my shoulder eagerly, with a prayer in his tone. "Xiaomei, please don't ignore me. Why should I tell you? Who do you think you are?" I pushed him away and didn't hide my disgust. "We have broken up. You are not qualified to ask. I don't agree to break up. Why did you break up with me for no reason? Give me a reason. You can't leave me like this." I sneered and looked straight at him. "At this point, you still don't know what's wrong, which proves that I'm right to break up. If there is any problem, we can solve it together." I explained it over and over again, but it was always him who was indifferent and never considered my feelings. I'm really curious. Which girl can stand her boyfriend's entanglement with other women? Ji Hayan, I'm already tired. I don't love you anymore and I don't care about you. Are you still angry that I designed jewelry for Lan Lan? I smiled. Even at this time, he still called her Lan Lan intimately. Obviously, the softest part of his heart has always belonged to her. I opened my mouth slowly. "Do you remember why I kept calling you that day?" Ji Hayan was stunned. "That day was our 7th anniversary. That brooch is for me to propose to you. I've been waiting for you for so long that I've become everyone's joke. The last thing to wait for is the news that you will shine at the exhibition. Xiaomei, I really didn't mean it. I don't want to upset you." I looked up at him and my heart was no longer calm. It seems that he has never understood where his biggest mistake is. "No, I'm going home." Ji Hayan was so anxious that he was about to cry. "Xiaomei, let's talk about it again." Before he finished speaking, his mobile phone rang. My muse is displayed on the screen. Obviously, that's not me. I sneered. "Go find your favorite muse." I pushed him away and turned away. Ji Hayan didn't catch up. After hesitating for a few seconds, he left in a hurry. 6. As soon as I arrived at the studio the next day, the gossip of my colleagues reached my ears. Do you know Bai Lan, the new drama actor who has been popular recently? She is the goddess of inspiration for talented designers. Is it true or not? No wonder that back is so elegant. I bet it won't take long for the two of them to fall in love openly. I can see people right. Listening to their envious tone, I felt an indescribable bitterness in my heart. That it's not that Ji Hayan doesn't know romance, but all his romance is only for Bai Lan. I suddenly felt that everything didn't matter. I adhered. Yes, I hope they can last a long time. I hope they can be together at ease after I get rid of my obstacles and don't hurt others anymore. To my surprise, Ji Hayan no longer pestered me, but Bai Lan came to the door. "Sister Mei, brother Ji is sick, and he is still calling your name in his dream. I'm worried about his condition." Looking at Bai Lan, who I met by chance, I couldn't help feeling a little ironic. "Who is he? Do you want me to see him? We don't know each other." I glanced at her. "I've never been with him for the rest of my life. Isn't this what you've always hoped for?" Bai Lan was speechless by me. She thought about it again and again and said, "I always thought that as long as I returned to China, brother Ji would always wait for me. But when I came back, I found that everything was too late. He fell in love with you. I sneered. She seemed to make up her mind and spoke with difficulty. I can let go. As long as Brother G is happy, I will be satisfied. I almost burst out laughing. Let go? If she doesn't get the garbage I throw away, she will throw it into me? When Ji Hayan and I had a deep relationship, she suddenly came back from abroad and forcibly inserted between us. She will follow whatever she does. Seeing my lost expression, she was proud. Now that there is no escort, you are starting to pretend to be generous? Sorry, there are so many men in the world. Just leave the garbage to you. I ignored her and turned away. She stamped her feet in annoyance and shouted loudly, Shunmei, don't regret it. But as soon as I came to the door, a tall figure stood in front of me. It's the haggard Ji Hayan. I deliberately pretended not to know him and tried to bypass him into the door. Xiaomei, can we talk? Ji Hayan's face was pale, his eyes were black, and he looked very tired. Speak up if you have something to say. I speak coldly. Seeing my slightly loose attitude, his eyes suddenly lit up with hope. I found the brooch you gave me. I will never lose it in my life, and I will never lose you again. I don't know how much thought it took him to find the brooch I threw away, but it doesn't matter anymore. Nothing can save our relationship. Throw it away. I looked straight into his eyes with a calm tone. Ji Hayan's eyes turned red in an instant. He wanted to hug me in a panic. You can't throw it away, Xiaomei. This is the gift you proposed to me. I promise you, shall we get married? Please, let's get married and never be separated. I broke free from his arms. I won't marry someone I don't love. After listening to Ji Hayan, he was struck by lightning. Why on earth? I said it seriously. Because you don't understand respect. You don't deserve love at all. He sat on the ground and I went into the door and ignored him. 7. I thought I could get a promotion and salary increase by working hard, but the senior management of the company didn't move for a long time. Opportunities have to be fought for. I brazenly found He Jiangxian with my own design portfolio. Where you want to get a raise? I'm going to talk to you about it. Our design studio in Paris is in urgent need of talents. They asked me to take someone there. After thinking about it, you are the most suitable. An excitement surged into my heart. But there is a condition that one of our partners has an event, and you have to participate in it as my assistant. He Jiangxian said and took out 2 invitations from the drawer. Bai Lan's name and stills are printed on it, which is the premiere of her new drama. My smile froze in an instant, and I quickly expressed that I didn't want to go. Then you may not be suitable for Paris. This sentence made me speechless. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't live with my future. I gritted my teeth and agreed. He said meaningfully, there are some things that you have to say goodbye to in person to get a new life. When I arrived at the theater, I was anxious. I know that Ji Hayan will definitely come, and he will never be absent from every important moment of Bai Lan. I remember that when she performed in London last time, Ji Hayan put off several important meetings and flew all day just to see her. Bai Lan's performance is still excellent, and her superb acting skills and elegant temperament make the audience admire her. However, she looked at the audience from time to time, as if she was looking for someone. At the curtain call, there was thunderous applause. She bowed slightly, and the bright blooming Ceres brooch on her chest shone. Thank you for your support. On the occasion of the curtain, I have something important to share with you. The whole audience became quiet. She took a deep breath, as if she had made up her mind. Regarding the video that was hotly discussed on the internet a while ago, many people speculated whether the heroine was me, and the relationship between me and the designer. I want to say, it's indeed me. That set of jewelry is his promise to me when he was a child, and now it has finally come true. I hope to spend the rest of my life with him and witness the birth of each of his works. After saying that, she looked in a certain direction with tears in her eyes, and the tracking light followed, illuminating Ji Hayan's calm face. He sat in the corner and did not respond to Bai Lan's expectant eyes, but the coaxing around him was getting louder and louder. After a long time, he finally got up and opened his mouth slowly. I'm sorry, Lan Lan. You have always been my sister. As soon as this was said, the whole audience was in an uproar. Bai Lan's confession was actually rejected? Because I have a more important muse in my heart. In my eyes, she is more brilliant than any jewelry. Ji Hayan suddenly opened the box in his arms. The ruby was matched with countless broken diamonds. A set of beautiful rose jewelry shocked everyone. But I have nothing to do. These have lost their meaning in my eyes. Ji Hayan's eyes fixed on me. Xiaomei, I was wrong. From now on, every work of mine is only for you. Can you forgive me? The audience was in an uproar again. It turned out that Ji Hayan, a jewelry design genius, already had a person in his heart? Bai Lan trembled with anger and shouted out of place. Ji Hayan, you promised to put me first forever. Ji Hayan roared. You also said that there is no taboo in childish words. You can't bind me with the past forever. For the first time, Bai Lan was reprimanded by Ji Hayan in public. She stood still and cried like rain. Ji Hayan walked quickly to me. Xiaomei, will you come with me? I felt the scorching eyes from all directions, and even many people began to coax. I took a deep breath and plucked up my courage. I don't want to. Ji-Haen's eyes turned red in an instant, and his body shook so much that he almost fell down. He muttered to himself, "You won't refuse me. You must still be angry, right? You're just losing your temper." I was about to open my mouth when Jiangxian, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly stood up and stood in front of me. "Don't you understand human speech?" She said she didn't want to, but Ji-Haen still held on to me tightly, and his eyes were full of unwillingness and sadness. "Xiaomei," I said, "I don't want to. Even if you ask 10,000 more times, the answer will not change. Ji-Haen, leave some dignity for each other." After saying that, the flashes around him rose and fell. I got up and pulled Jiangxian away from the scene. For a moment my name and Ji-Haen's name appeared frequently. Everyone is thinking about what charm I have that can make him reject Bai Lan's confession and firmly choose me, and what's more surprising is, I also refused Ji-Haen. Ji-Haen soon issued a statement asking everyone not to interfere too much in my life, and he was willing to bear all the responsibilities. That Jiangxian also felt a little guilty. He didn't expect things to be so noisy. It doesn't matter. It's time to go to a new environment. I don't have to clean up the mess. I comforted him. Jiangxian felt even more sorry for me, and then promised to double my salary when he arrived in Paris. In an instant all my troubles disappeared. 8. The pace of the Paris studio is very fast. I learned a lot from Jiangxian and was soon promoted. Jiangxian complained about this, complaining that he was too busy to have time to eat with him. He always said that I was too thin and must eat more. I curled my lips. For the sake of career, I can only sacrifice my meal time. I don't want to miss you at noon. He is a strong man and coquettish. I was amused by him and tiptoed to kiss him gently on the face. He suddenly smiled happily. "By the way, I asked the National Treasure designer to make several rings for you. You can see which one you like. If you like them all, we can customize them all and change them in the future." I quickly interrupted him and took a closer look at the design drawing. "It's not like this to spend money. I'll just choose one." I circled a simple and generous gold ring, and people will awaken their love for gold at a certain age. Why don't you choose this one? This design is inspired by someone's rose heart, which is so in line with your style. Jiangxian pointed to another one and said sourly. I raised my hand and was about to hit him. "If you are so poor-mouthed again, I will ignore you. I love gold right now." Good gold, right? "My husband will directly pack the gold mine for you." The engagement ceremony was very lively. Although we didn't have many friends in Paris, everyone was very excited. The atmosphere was relaxed and pleasant. In the evening, we also held a reception on the banks of the Seine. We enjoyed the beautiful scenery of the riverbank while tasting and chatting. Suddenly, the lights of the venue dimmed. When the light hit the river, Jiangxian stood by the one-man-high castle made of pure gold with an exquisite box. Inside the box is a unique ring, shining in the light. I walked to him with a smile. "In the future I will only bloom for myself." The full text is finished.